introduce a lawyer who's known to many. How many of you know Greg Kafoury? You know, he's a really great lawyer in Portland. For years, he's represented citizens who've been stomped on by government agencies or corporations, the kind of lawyer that is all too rare. Most lawyers represent commercial interests. He represents the interests of citizens who are trying to make a difference. He believes dissent is the mother of most assent. It must be protected and defended. And together with Lloyd and others, they are the only people in the United States of America, after 15 years of work, initiatives, lawsuits, discussion, have shut down a giant nuclear plant.
Yeah.
The Trojan nuclear plant. Let me introduce you to Greg Kafoury.
I ask you to imagine a debate, a presidential debate in which Ralph Nader is there. And imagine if 30 or 40 million people is able to say, Senator Obama, you say that when we discuss reform of our health system, of course, the health insurance companies have to have a seat at the table. Well, you know, if you're going to give them veto power, if they have to sign off on the deal, then we have to ask you the basic question. Are they part of the solution or are they the problem? I mean, how does the health insurance industry make money? It makes money just one way, denying coverage. Saying no, we won't pay for this. No, you can't have that procedure. No, you can't have that treatment. Every time they do, they make more money. Wow. These people are going to sign on to the new health bill. You know what that means. It means huge federal taxpayer subsidies for health insurance until that goes broke and we're back in the soup, only it's worse. Because they're the enemy. They're the ones we have to overcome. All those people who make their living saying no, all those people in the back room figuring out ways to say no, communicating a message no, reviewing a document so they can say no, all those people need to go out and get honest work, and all the money that goes to their salaries should go to healers instead. Tell me, Senator Obama, do you agree with that or not? Tell us your answer. Tell me, Senator Obama, you support more money for defense. Half the budget goes to defense. Right now, we call it defense. We spend more on defense than the rest of the world put together. You want to spend more. And of course, the wars are off the budget. They don't count. What is the problem here? Is the problem that we're not spending enough? Is that the real problem with our foreign policy, our domestic policy? We're not spending enough? Or do you think maybe the problem is things like occupation? While we're talking about occupation, you talk about how you got to keep troops in Iraq so that things work out better, so we can train in the army, so we can protect the vast green zone, so we can attack terrorists, which I guess means those that don't like us there and have courage to stand up to it. But you're going to be bringing some troops home. Now, what is it? Is the occupation the problem, or is the occupation the solution? Is the occupation what breeds the resistance, or is the occupation what needs to continue until the resistance is beaten down? You've got a foot in each camp, and you know, Senator, your presidency is going to be destroyed if you don't get both feet in the right camp, because we've been down that road before. What do you think of that, Senator Obama? Could we have that debate? Is that a possibility? Well, let me say this. In the 2000 election, Ralph Nader was at 5% in the polls during the campaign. But Barry Burden of Harvard studied a different question. He said, among the three candidates, who would you like to see president? Who do you think would be the best president? Got a wholly different number. Nader's number was 15%. Think about that for a minute. What is Ralph's number today? A couple months ago in Zogby, was 5% with Obama and McCain, 6% with Clinton and McCain. Today, in the National Journal poll, Nader's at 5%, coming equally from Republicans and Democrats. That's real news. You may not see it in the paper tomorrow, but if you look on the web, you'll see it. So let me say, what is the potential? Potential is a lot more than you think if you just hang out with, pseudo-liberal party hacks. Because ordinary people don't feel the way they do. And there is extraordinary news in the world that gives me inestimable pleasure to share with you. Do you know where Ralph and a handful of us spent yesterday afternoon? We were at Mountain View, a little town in California. That's the headquarters of a very large and remarkable corporation. Mr. Nader was invited there to speak to its employees, and his Q&A session, which was long on answers, very detailed and thoughtful answers, of course, was not just shown to the people there in the audience, but it was beamed to the 20,000 employees worldwide of that corporation. And that corporation wants to put on its own debates, presidential debates. And that corporation is a corporation that McCain or Obama cannot say no to because their name is Google. Yeah! Over the next few months, as this is churning, rattling around in their brain, being discussed, they're very egalitarian. The top guys and the ordinary grunts are all, sort of intermixed over there. They have this non-hierarchical form, and everybody's encouraged to talk about these. You should have seen Ralph, and let me tell you, you can't. You go home tonight, just punch in Nader Google, and you can see Nader's address to these people. And it was an opportunity where a lesser man would have felt some compulsion to flatter his audience. Ralph talked about things like Tiananmen Square, which if you type it in on Google in the United States, you see these extraordinarily and horrific pictures. But if you type it in China, where Google has the contract for the web, you see pretty pictures. Okay? And he talked about that. He talked about, kids, he said that this is one of those places where, I don't know what they do to kids at 30, but they're in it. He says, think about what you're producing. You produce all this information, this miracle, massive information, these great retrieval systems. Is the world a better place for it? Where's the evidence of it? Are you in fact studying more and more, learning more and more about less and less and less and less, and just spiraling downward in relevance as you get more and more intense in your knowledge of less and less? Maybe you need to start thinking about spiraling the other way. What's going to be the end product? We've got all the data. What are you going to be doing? What are you in this community of scholars going to be doing to create information which becomes knowledge, which becomes wisdom, which can be turned into action, which can make the world a better place? That's what Ralph talked about with these kids at Google, and they were goggle-eyed. It was an extraordinary experience. You can see it for yourself. Don't let them sit around their bosses and kick around who should be in the debates that Google wants to sponsor. Now we have a right-wing candidate, Congressman Barr, who is against big intrusive government, things like the Patriot Act and so on, corporate welfare. I mean, the guy's got a lot to say. That would be an interesting debate with the four of them, don't you think? Yeah. Now let me say this. How might that happen? Well, we have to show our capability. We have to show a level of support. We have to be on the ballot in a vast number of states. We have to have enough money to maintain a serious campaign, because we're on a razor's edge right now. We're going to be frozen out by the national media. On the other hand, we have this extraordinary opportunity and an extraordinarily promising base of support out there in the public. It's there in the polls. It's not me telling you.
Thank you very much, Greg. You've been volunteering with us since 2000. All of the time. He practices what he preaches and preaches what he practices. Thank you all for your generosity as well.